All right, so today I've been waking up really late, been lying on the bed for 3 hours after waking up. Been working 8:30 to 10 o'clock at night yesterday, but mainly half my day yesterday was training. It's more theory based, but after that I was doing more physical work. Anywho, let's talk about this topic. Now, I waking up, I like to scroll my YouTube, and I came across Wham. Now, I subscribe to Wham for a very long time. Those who doesn't not know, World Alternative Media. They from Winnipeg, from Canada. Shout out to you guys. Talks about Darwin. It's already just entered the social credit system. Now, for those who does not know, in my channel, I talk about social credit. I talk about the goods about the social credit, and I don't talk about the bads too much because I go back to China forward and front because most of my family is in China. But however, when I came across with that video and go through my bit of research, I'm not the type of person who likes to listen and hear from videos. I like to do my own research. I'll take that as a 20% and I find my own research and I find about what's my experience and what I've done. So there's plenty of links down below in this description. It's all related to what I'm talking today. Now, let's talk about this, Darwin. Now, Darwin, who does not know, is one of the cities in Australia, is in the central north of Australia. Australia is very big, and it has one of the least population. It has less population than Canberra. Funny enough to know about that, fun fact. Now, this Darwin Northern Territory is under Northern Territory state. We're going to call it state on that one. We'll call it Northern Territory. Now, the geograph on this, you guys may know a bit about Northern Territory. Has the Aya Rock or Uluru. You guys may know this huge rock. That's where it's from, this territory. And Pines Gap. And apparently that's the only place Australia does not own. It's owned by the US. And something surveillance of the whole thing. And as well, there's a lot of crocodiles. You pretty much can't swim in the beach. There's crocodiles, there's crocs. And yeah, that's a bit about there. There's a very large indigenous community live in Northern Territory. If people think about Northern Territory, there's a large large community live up there, or in Northern Territory, just alone. Okay, so let's lay it out. Now, I don't know what's the story behind, but I didn't read through the stories, but on the links. But apparently, Darwin was owing some money to China. Now, I don't know what's this money, what they need it for, and what's the reason behind it. I haven't checked deeply to it. So, Darwin struggled to make the payment. Therefore, they had to sell off their, or it's either they couldn't pay off or they sell off one of their port seas, deep ports, which cost $506 million of Australian. So for the 99-year lease. Okay, so you got that. Now, I only get this information when I scroll the comment down below with the WHAM, how Australia is heading towards the social credit system. So that's where I get my information. Another one is the knowing the fact that what it's actually doing. Because in 2014, 2015, Australia has a form of social credit, but it's usually established in Northern Territory. Funny enough to know about it. It's called Basics Card, which is under the Centrelink. Now, there's guinea pigs running around, programs running around parts of rural cities or cities in New South Wales or Victoria, WA, South Australia, Queensland. But Northern Territory is the most heaviest. It's funny enough because having this basic card, for those who does not know basic card is pretty much, it's like, just say this is a card, right? You have this card, pretty much what you receive, your government welfare goes to this card. Now, this card is not a Visa card or MasterCard. It eliminates you to spend money in certain places, such as bars, pubs, cigarettes, beers, pornography, and certain items that are known to self-harm themselves, such as indigenous community. Like, I'm not saying stereotyping, but I overheard these are the stuff like sniffing petrol or sniffing paint or gun down Listerine to have that effect. Now, it also affects a lot of local businesses because local businesses cannot access. So having this card is only benefit the multinational companies. So small companies, or if you're coming from a minority background and you wanted to go shop in minority places, you cannot go there. And I've seen how the effects it goes and things like that. So it destroys a lot of business, and it controls you what you should behave. Now, in the news or general public, or the stigma or the behind of the indigenous community is always being drunk or bad behavior, poor behavior. There is high rates of rape, suicide, prison, theft, robbery, murder. There is a high chance, and so high percentage amongst the rest of the general population, minorities, and the rest. So it would make sense, right, for them. Now Chinese has bought this port, and now it has the Darwin Council, right? So this is not coming out of my ass, right? This information is coming. The Darwin Council is looking into the monitor surveillance system from China, Shenzhen. Shenzhen is pretty much the Silicon Valley of China, and then Taiwan, and wanting to adopt the social credit. So pretty much what I'm trying to tell you, if this doesn't ring the alarm, correct me if I'm wrong. What we've been seeing, what I'm hearing, right? I'm not saying I believe or not. What I'm seeing in the news with the social credit system is disadvantage with the minorities, wanting to make the minorities fit in the majority. Now, I made a video on regards to that, and I'll definitely put the link, another one for that one below. Social credit is like you have to behave in a certain way. Right now, as I mentioned to you guys before, the indigenous community has all these rates, very high. So having a social credit will be best behave or good behave them. Let's just put it that way. Now, whether I agree or not, that is not up to me. I'm just using my opinion, my thoughts of where is this going, where is it leading to, all right? Where is true or fake news about Uyghur people being killing or not? This is what I'm seeing, this is what I'm hearing, and I'm not going to say anything because I don't want it to make it sound like it's true or not, because I go to China. Most of my family's in China. I go to China for the last 2 years, but not this year, unfortunately. And what we're seeing in our banking system right now in Australia, which we have tight regulation, and wanting to know what sort of credit. So besides of getting credit score, they also want to have a social credit before you buy a house. So imagine this is your house, right? Triangle. All right, sorry, I know it's a bad way of explaining a house, but the house is long, it has a triangle roof, and yeah, I just got chocolate. So they look into your social behavior. Do you watch Netflix? Do you have Afterpay? Do you use Uber Eats? Do you go out? How much do you left behind? Now, people who get a bank loan nowadays, it's easier for less than 1 mil. If you're less than 1 mil, then you and your partner have to be a doctor, a lawyer. It's usually high profession jobs with 6-figure salary. Now, those who works hard, breaded minorities, or those who do cash in hands or tradies, which a lot of media is hated about tradies, they get cash in hand jobs. Cash in hand is like a threat of the society because they're not paying taxes. So they want to diminish sizing the cash in hand, and wanting for you to make legitimate money from legitimate places, have super and taxes and everything, blah, 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 blah. Right? So you can't understand the drill. Now, that's been said. Now I've blabbed on the whole thing. What have I left? I don't know what have I left on the topic because it's just a big topic. It's just see, if this what it means to be, and how the article also stated that it's going to roll out because any city is going to roll out smart city. So smart city has to be surveillance and things like that. Where David X was talking about Hicks mentioned about smart technology. Anything he stated smart is more control, more of listening to us, such as smartphones, smart TVs, smart fridges, smart microwave, blah 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 blah. Right? Whether you can use your app or whether you use everything. So where we're heading to this is just astonishing because Australia is part of one of the top 10 countries heading towards a cashless society. I never thought that we will adopt the Chinese method because we have the human right values, right? Now, on the article, it stated on the Darwin Council just to monitor the social behavior. As I mentioned to you guys before, there's a lot of the high rates in the crime rates and the murder rates and the social behavior up in the Northern Territory where there's too much going on. And this, I'm just surprised that it is actually heading very fast. But, I wouldn't be too surprised because the other day I went to one of the supermarkets we call Coles, and which is on top, I live in Melbourne, Victoria. And Coles supermarket has, and I'm pretty sure other supermarket, I'm just naming Coles because that's what I just saw. I'm naming Coles, and you have the self-serve, and right in front of me, there's a camera, just like this, camera right in front of me. Camera's looking at me, and there's like an iPhone screen, like showing that it's recording me. And I spoke to the security guy. I'm like, what's with these cameras, showing, blabbing on my face, scanning, things. And, they said, oh, the ceiling surveillance camera couldn't see your face, so we need one right in front of your face. Now, I know China at the moment already has made the AI camera already identify certain objects that before you scan, right? So you scan it, they already know. Before you scan it, they already know who you are, what you're doing. So when you have that, you cannot cheat because there's news articles stated that they're cheating. For example, this is oranges. They made oranges saying like, what's the word? Sorry, I have to get that word. So oranges, and they tried to use it as carrots because carrots are a lot cheaper, or perhaps there's a lot stealing behind or not paying at all, just walk out through trolleys. So they wanted to use technology because of making it cheaper for labor and things like that, cutting costs, making the profit margins even better. And now having all this technology and allows people, I'm not saying really allows, but technically it can allow, work. There's only one self-checkout person who monitors everything with 50 machines. That these supermarket giants has completely lost so much profit because too many items been stole. So what I'm trying to tell you is that it's funny where is this heading to, because the more I make this sort of YouTube videos, the more I get to see the reality, how it comes to us. So that's the way how I say it. I'm trying to think more from out of my mind. And, to be honest with you guys, I'll talk about the social credit. I'm not saying all social credit is bad. Minority fit into the majorities, right? Because the Australian government tried to solve many ways, and I don't think the article right now with the basic income is going too well, because there's a loophole. When I went on YouTube, there's a loophole on how to buy cigarettes and things like that, how to do bad social behavior. Now, with that being said, because I used to study social work last year, and teachers are banging so hard, going against the government, saying that you guys, you government only wanting to, straighten the behavior with the indigenous people just because you have a basic income. We have to fight for the rights. We have to let them stand up. Look at them. They have the majority of them are in prisons or crime rate. We shouldn't be having laws. It does not fit with the indigenous community. We need to modify it to the way that not many indigenous people go to jail. Because now having this article You're not going to save everything. And if this what it being claims to help, sorry, I lost words because of the phone. If the Uyghur community is that the way how it is, and I could see that it will happen and work a lot more against with the indigenous community. If that's sound to be true, it will be a lot worse, right? When it's be a lot worse, then there's nothing much as social policies or social justice as social workers or the people can fight back. Now, this is the way how it works, and there's nothing much I could talk about it now. So, yeah, I can say I managed to talk about this video, and I'm bleeding because there's a pimple. Okay, did not. I hope you guys quite understand. I know none of my people watch my videos. I'm cool with that. I'm just gaining knowledge each time I make these videos. I don't care about views. I don't really care. I don't care about thumbnails. So if you do watch this video, appreciate it. Comments down below. If you hate it, if you disagree, go for it. I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm just talking about my experience and knowledge and what I'm seeing from hearing others. Okay, I'm out.